handcuffs on, we're going to throw them into a van. That's what the British Transport Police were saying at Barnsley train station an hour before we even assembled at Barnsley Station.
And there were too many of us. There were too many of us.
And they
couldn't do it.
And Ian's saying there were too many of us for them to be able to charge in. It was quite clear that they became very agitated on Monday, a fortnight ago. Northern Rail and the British Transport Police had been sick of the fact that this was our 7th freedom ride. The first 3 freedom rides, Northern Rail and the police were quite content for us to go ahead and make our protest. And then they decided to try and stop us. And we made monkeys of them. There was the day that they stopped us travelling to Meadowhall, so we went in the other direction to Penistone. And all the police lined up on the platform stopping us go to Sheffield. Couldn't quite make out what was happening when a train load of pensioners and disabled people took off in the other direction, waving goodbye to them. There was the time that they argued with us when we went through to Meadowhall. They were threatening to arrest, and then when we got to Meadowhall, they let us have our rally, but they raced over to the Barnsley-bound platform to stop people getting on the train to Barnsley. And instead of going for that train, we got a different train to Sheffield. And again, there were those bemused faces stood all around the Barnsley platform wearing police uniforms, British Transport Police uniforms, wondering how it was there was a trainload of us waving goodbye to them going in the opposite direction again. So they were sick of having the mickey taken out of them. Northern Rail and the British Transport Police a fortnight ago had decided they were going to draw a line in the sand. And it didn't work out according to plan for them again. Because their plan was, they had loads of police travelling on the train with us. The police didn't do anything about us overriding going from Honeywell to Meadowhall on the train. When the conductor came along and asked for fares, I said to him, we're on a freedom ride, we don't have to pay, and the conductor said OK and walked on. There were 2 British Transport Police stood beside me. They said nothing. They did nothing to stop us getting through to Meadowhall. And then when we got to Meadowhall, they left all the doors locked apart from the conductor's door, and all the police and extra ticket inspectors piled off, and they waited on the platform, and we'd already made a decision and communicated with people at Meadowhall that we were going to travel through to Sheffield. So again, there was that lovely sight of the British Transport Police licking their lips, waiting for us to get off, determined to make an arrest, instead of which, what happened was, people piled onto the train that had been waiting for us, and they were left scratching their heads again and hurriedly had to scramble to get back onto the train. And then when we got through to Sheffield, they kettled us on platform 4. They thought that we were going to go up to their kettle line and meekly go through one by one, giving our names and addresses and going to be chased up. We didn't. We had a rally. We had a number of people speaking, talking about what was right about our campaign and making sure that everyone that was going through Sheffield Station a fortnight ago on Monday knew what we were there for. People who hadn't heard about our campaign heard about it because they saw a group of 60 or so elderly and disabled people standing together and fighting. And one of the things I want to emphasise is the nature of solidarity in this dispute. In the 5th week of our campaign, having been told by 5 weeks we were wasting our time, our protest would do nothing, why bother keeping on doing this? In the 5th week, they turned round and they said they were going to make a U-turn. And disabled people have won back all the concessions that were taken away. And many sensible people would have said,
we did that! We did that!
Absolutely, we did it, our campaign. And many sensible people would have said, well, disabled people have got what they want. They don't need to protest anymore. It's just for the elderly to look after themselves. And did that happen?
No!
A real sense of solidarity. We've got Carol and Rebecca from the blind and partially sighted group in Barnsley. Here again. Carol was in hospital on Friday for an emergency operation. She's checked herself out this morning so that she can be here with us on this protest. And I can't go through all the names of other disabled people. I can't mention Mark Ravenhill in his chair over here, who was almost thrown over on the platform on Monday a fortnight ago. I can't mention Ian who finds it hard to get around and was shunted onto the platform. I can't mention Sharon and Jen and countless other people I haven't got time to mention.
No, don't mention
But thank you, all of you disabled people, for saying that although you've got what you want, we fought together to win those benefits for disabled people, and disabled people are still standing in solidarity with us to make sure that we win our campaign completely. Now, there are some other people that we really ought to be thinking about blaming. Obviously Northern Rail, the passenger transport executive, the Northern Rail police are those that were intimately involved in what happened on Monday a fortnight ago. But we've got to be clear, there are people behind them. There's David Cameron and George Osborne. These are the people who have cut back funds to local councils and to public bodies. These are the people that believe that public services should be smashed. These are the people who, apart from making it hard for us to travel on public transport, are now distinguishing themselves by saying that they're going to privatise lady cancer treatment. It makes clear what we want, government running like that. These are the people that should be in the dock as well. And there's someone that before a local I would have liked to be turning up today. Nick Clegg. I know Nick Clegg is a very popular figure in Sheffield. Nick Clegg said he was going into government as Deputy Prime Minister to try and soften the attitude of the Tories. And of course he famously stabbed the students in the back right at the beginning of being Deputy Prime Minister. But what has Nick Clegg done in order to improve conditions for pensioners? What has Nick Clegg done in order to improve the conditions of people on benefits? He's sat there like Pontius Pilate, washing his hands while people are trampled over by this government and stabbed and stabbed and stabbed again. Our politicians, the leaders that should be standing up for us, have failed to do that. But there are people who have stood with us. There's the union. We've got behind me the Barnsley National Union of Teachers Bank. Tony, the man that many of you will recognise if he bends his head down, you've seen the top of his bald head held down by with his 4 or 5 transport police, because you can see Tony is such a dangerous figure. You can see he is such a giant of a person, running around wild and uncontrollable. And Tony says to me, normal, quiet, dulcet tones, do tell us about NAPO as well. That NAPO banner is here as well, supporting us. So a big round of applause. Unite the Union produced 3,000 leaflets to advertise its lobby today. Unite the Union paid for a coach to bring people through from Barnsley this morning because we can't use our travel passes at this time. They paid for that coach to bring people through. And Unite the Union have paid for the legal defence of Tony and herself. Barnsley Trades Council and Sheffield Trades Council, representing all the trade unions in Barnsley and Sheffield, supporting our campaign and standing with us. That linking together of the unions and elderly and disabled is so important. We have been able to stand up and protest. We're not worried about being sacked. They can't sack us. But the real power that can change things is with the unions. And we're going to see that power unleashed for a little bit on Thursday of this week. On Thursday, we're going to see the largest strike of public sector unions since November 2011. There's going to be something like 1.5 million to 2 million workers out on strike. In Sheffield and Barnsley, there will be very large demonstrations. I'm not sure about Rotherham and Doncaster. Perhaps someone can say something about that a bit later. We do have some leaflets that we're going to hand out about the next events that are going to be taking place within the campaign. There is going to be in Barnsley this Wednesday another planning meeting that everyone is invited to come to. We couldn't get the library to book this time, so we're having it is a blind to partially sighted association.
Wait.
That's going to be Wednesday at 11 o'clock. The offices, those of you that have been through to Barnsley and know Regent Street where the transport office is, it isn't on that street. There's another little precinct goes up beside it, which is called Regent Street South. And if you go up that precinct, almost at the top of it on the right-hand side, it looks like the backyard of someone's garden. There's a door there which says Barnsley Blind and Partially Sighted Association. If you turn up there for 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning, we'll have our next planning meeting deciding what we're doing. And the leaflet we're giving out, we've also got the details for the demonstration that are taking place in Sheffield and Barnsley on Thursday. And it would be really great if we could have a contingent of freedom riders turning up. I can see already a lot of you have got the shirts. If you can turn up to those, turn up with placards supporting the freedom ride, that would be really great. Us repaying the trade union support that's been given to us, repaying that by turning out and supporting trade unionists protesting on Thursday about the austerity cuts affecting them, about the way that their wages have been held down for ages and ages. And we are also planning on Saturday the 19th of July a freedom ride protest in Barnsley, where we'll, again, it's on the leaflet that we handed out. We're planning on getting as many people together near Barnsley College to put a certain point, having a bit of a rally there, then a march through town, and who knows, perhaps to the train station, and perhaps think about having a ride on that Saturday. That's up to people to decide actually on that Saturday. So there's a whole number of events that are coming up. But I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart. People keep talking about me and Tony. They don't turn around and talk about Roy and Elaine and Alan and all the other people, all of you that have been involved in it.
It's 12-foot wrap. Supposed to be 20 foot, he said, but it's only 12 foot. Eh? It's whatever rat you want to be about.
I hope you don't mind me calling you the young reporter from the Sheffield Star. He is the man that was taken by the police when they were getting set up. Before they decided to arrest me and Tony, they had a go at him. He was threatened under the Terrorism Act. But he had to delete the photograph that he's taken. I hope he's not going to be told that he has to delete the photograph and video he's making today. So that's what they mean by freedom of the press. The press is free to say whatever the bosses and the rich want them to say. As soon as our case gets a hearing, pressure comes on the journalists and on the papers. So a really big round of applause to him.